Zoom. There, we've got biltong stuff. We've got obituaries. We've got movie news. We've got all kinds of stuff today. This is a crowded news day in terms of show business. Hey, welcome. I don't know who you people are, how you got here. Thank you, Christopher Ebden, one of the great Ebdens of all time. From Ebden, Scotland. This is going to be fun. I came up with this idea to do there used to be a thing called This Week in Baseball, and it was like a summary of the week in baseball, which if you missed all these games or you didn't see them, they were out of market games growing up. They would show you the highlights of games around the country. It was like, I don't know if anybody remembers that, but this is how we got here, Ken. So the situation is, I thought we could do a This Week in Showbiz History. In other words, you take the week, you look back all the way to the 1800s or 1900s or early whatever, years these major events happened. Birthdays, deaths, releases, premieres, oddities, launches of stuff. And then we could get into that and do some show business news of the week. Now, you say, well, why now? Why would you do it now? This is the first of many times we're going to do this. This is the first time we're doing it. And I'll tell you one of the reasons I wanted to do it, twofold. I'm fascinated by the history of the week in show business, not this particular dates, but any week in show business you can pluck out. This is called TWISH, This Week in Showbiz History, TWISH. It used to be TWIB, right? This Week in Baseball Notes, absolutely. Sorry about your sister's heart. I'm quite surprised we're up to nothing, but tomorrow maybe something will happen. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do contemporary. Oh, okay, forget about that, what I'm going to say. Let's just like and subscribe. I'm going to read this article here while you like and subscribe. Yeah, take care of that business. I'll get back to you in a couple minutes. Liking and subscribing. Liking, la-di-da. Let's see here. Like and subscribe. How's it going? Pretty good so far? The liking and subscribing, you guys got this figured out? This Week in Showbiz History, like and subscribe. Apparently YouTube likes when you do this. So, all right, we got that done. Okay, number two on the agenda. There's a couple of things here. Number two is the reason I wanted to do this is it takes me more than 1 week to do a deep dive on the show business icons that we're exploring. In other words, next week is Robin Williams. I can't physically turn around Robin Williams or any of these people in a week. So interstitially, what we're going to do in between these mega dives of individuals, we're going to do This Week in Show Business History, which allows me to get more time to dive deeper into the icons individually. In other words, just taking Robin Williams, I mean, there's so many movies, there's documentaries, there's books I have to read, a lot of books and a lot of articles and, things where I have to like send away for like rare Rolling Stones that cost me a fortune to read old interviews with people where they let their hair down. And what we did on the other channel, these books are so expensive that we created a JFK book fund. So what I'm doing here now is creating a showbiz book fund. If you want to contribute to it, as I've bought over 75 books already to prepare for this channel, but it seems like I have to buy 3 or 4 books a week. A lot of them are old, a lot of them are out of print, a lot of them take time to get here. So if you want to be part of the What's Up with Lordbuckly Showbiz Book Fund, you can look in the description. There's a PayPal address, there's a Cash App address, and a Venmo address, and you can contribute whatever you want, and that'll go towards the books, which will be part and parcel of the episodes. You could see some of them in back of me that I've already purchased myself, but I'm going to go out of business soon. If I keep operating at this level financially, we can announce your name and thank you publicly on the show, or if you want to remain anonymous, we could do that too. So if you want to become a member of the Showbiz Book Club, look in the description after the episode and you'll see the Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App addresses to make a donation towards that, which would be amazingly appreciated, since I am just one man fighting against the machine. Okay, we have a sponsor. Let's get into the sponsor already. This is Biltong USA, who's supplying the money for this show and helping us stay on the air. This is what's getting me through the playoffs. Some years I don't go that deep into the playoffs. Other years I get addicted to the playoffs, especially if your team is in the playoffs. So that's always, we're always in the playoffs. So sometimes we get eliminated the first week and then I'm done with it. But this looks like we're going to go to the big show on this year. I predict Dodgers Seattle. Seattle's never been to the big show, the big promised land called the World Series, the Fall Classic. The planes will be flying up and down the West Coast. This will be Seattle versus Dodgers, my prediction. Okay. But while you're watching it, you can be avoiding carbohydrates, potato chips, crackers, bread, toast, popcorn, all that crap that you don't need, and eat just pure protein, the filet mignon of beef jerky, which is Biltong USA. If you see here, there's a secret code. This is not my favorite flavor anymore. This is my favorite flavor right here. This is the one, the Angus. Now, there could be others, so I haven't worked through every single one of them. So right now, Angus is my favorite Biltong. This is from South Africa. The guy lives in Texas. He had a tornado last week. I think the whole operation flew up in the air. You saw a twister. Helen Hunt was making the Biltong, and she was involved. She got sucked up into the air. The dog, they landed back safely. And now they're back at making Biltong. You can order it using the secret code Mark G. I think you might want to do it in caps. I don't know. That's what it says here. And they'll deliver it to your door with ice in it and everything else packed in a tiny little box. It's kind of foolproof, but it's great for you sports people because you could sit there on your couch munching on this instead of crap. And believe me, I love crap. I could eat bags and bags of Fritos. I could eat bags and bags of barbecue Lay's potato chips. Don't get me started there. But this has replaced it. So I'm eating this for health reasons and for calorie reasons and for low carb reasons. I'm eating pure protein and it is delicious. Order it. Like I don't know if you want to do what I do, but I put it in the microwave for like 5 seconds and it's really delicious. So order that. There's other stuff on the menu. There's other flavors you could try. I think you'll like it. If you don't like it, forget you ever heard it from me. It's no loss. I think you will like it though. So try Biltong USA. Thanks for that. Okay, now this is what we're going to do. We're going to get into this week in showbiz history, but we're going to start with this week and then work backwards. We're going to go through some birthdays. We're going to go through events. We're going to go through people who died. And hopefully this can be some structure to something. I have no idea what I'm doing, by the way. But that doesn't stop me. In the past, I've had no idea what I was doing. You know, kind of what motivated me was the takeover of showbiz or the demise of showbiz or the collapse of showbiz. Whatever way you want to spin it, I thought that I better get on the record about stuff that happened because I took it for granted that this stuff was going to be here forever, like the record industry, but it may not. So getting into the history of these events might be fun for all of us. We're not going to go deep on each thing, but we're just going to touch on all these major events. And you can comment down below in the comment section or in the chat about your favorites, your takes on this, your experience growing up with these shows, these movies. We're going to cover Broadway. We're going to cover, the concert scenes. But let's start off with this week in show business. Okay, so this week in show business was the passing of Diane Keaton. Thank you so much, Stu. Diane Keaton, it's just a personal thing for me. I was a huge fan of Diane Keaton. She died at 79 years of age, the Oscar winner for Annie Hall, as many of you know. She was from Southern California, but she was the muse. She was the muse for Woody Allen. I know she did other films like First Wives Club in 1996 and Looking for Mr. Goodbar, which I recommend, in 1977. Of course, all three Godfathers. This is her with her Oscar, which well-deserved, for Annie Hall, one of the classic Woody Allen movies of all time. But what people don't realize is how many Woody Allen movies she actually did. I mean, she did Manhattan. She was in Love and Death. She was in Manhattan Murder Mystery was a great one. She was in Sleepers. She was in Interiors. She was in Radio Days. I mean, she was clearly his muse and in a relationship with him for many years. Some of the other films she did was Reds with she's amazing in Reds with Warren Beatty, which is a real epic of a film. But also in films that we may not have seen, like The First Wives Club, or Godfathers 1 and 2. Here's a shot from Godfather with Michael, with Al Pacino. She was just stunning in this. It was shot stunningly. She was amazing. She could work in comedy. She could work in drama. Incredible range. Having the ability to improvise, to work with Woody Allen, and to be part of his library of films. And of course, Annie Hall, to me, like one of the great Brooklyn Jewish comedies of all time. And that comes up in the storyline when he meets Granny Hall, and when he goes to Minnesota to have dinner with the family, they see him as a Hasidic Jew with a beard and a fur hat. I mean, there's just a lot of great humor in there. And also Christopher Walken, don't forget, as her brother, who is a complete psychopath in that movie. Look at Annie Hall again if you haven't seen it. Look at Annie Hall again. You can appreciate it a little bit more now if you haven't seen it in a long time. When Christopher Walken is turning off the headlights at night while he's driving them, there's just some great moments. The little kid who is Woody Allen saying the universe is entropying, and his mother says, "You live in Brooklyn. What difference does it make?" And the doctor urging him to do his homework, but he's saying the universe is expanding and there's no reason to live anymore. There's just a lot of magical moments. He lives underneath a cyclone in Coney Island, and I lived very close by to that cyclone in Coney Island. Anyway, it's one of the greatest Woody Allen movies ever made, and she's part of that whole experience. Now, that being said, she suffered from bulimia, and she suffered also, a number of family members died of various types of cancer. She had skin cancer at a very early age, and they removed various facial skin cancer things early in her life. And there hasn't been a cause of death yet, but it may be a combination of bulimia and cancer. The bulimic thing is what I believed killed her. She was out of the closet on this. She was an admitted addict, an admitted food addict. She admitted publicly she had bulimia. She did a lot of good for the food disorder community. She came out and told on herself with incredible courage. This is a number of years back. She would gorge herself on tons and tons of food. And I mean, this is from her listing. This is from people in town who, here in Hollywood, where I am, who know this story very well. And then she would binge and purge, as people know how this system works. It is a type of food addiction that has its own different peccadillos, and it can be life-ending. And obviously, it has health consequences, as does the cancer. So she apparently went fairly quick. In the past year, she started to really descend health-wise. And I always had admiration for her for publicly addressing her addictions. So rest in peace, Diane Keaton. Okay. There's a story in town this week about phony movie props. This is an odd one. Front page of the LA Times yesterday. Apparently, the props that are being sold are counterfeit props, and there's all kinds of different props. I don't know what this one is, but this is one of the props, I guess. There's Dorothy's ruby slippers. There was one fighter jet model from Star. Here's the ruby slippers. I don't know if these are counterfeit or real, but there's a different guns and different Star Wars jet plane models. These are the earrings from that were worn in what was the name of this film that she wore these things with we'll get back to these, but there's various props, and these people have paid thousands and thousands of dollars for these movie props, and now there's a problem of authenticity. So of course only in Hollywood could this stuff happen. There's movie props from Harry Potter, the Wizard of Oz. There's a gray market. Oh, that's Darth Vader's lightsaber from The Empire Strikes Back, if that is the real one. I don't know. All these medals. Yeah, that's it. There's also the golden ticket that we were talking about this week. So many of these props, and they go to great lengths, these prop people, to validate these, but apparently it's not enough. So it says Hollywood's newest drama, fake movie props. This is going to be hard to settle. This thing may not be settled for years. Okay, so we got into that. Warner Brothers Discovery sale talks heat up after initial Paramount bid rejected. Now, the recent sale of Paramount has led to them trying to gobble up Warner Brothers Discovery now. Not because they're megalomaniacal, but because Warner Brothers Discovery is losing billions and billions of dollars, and will be taken over by Paramount unless the government blocks it, which I don't think they're going to. So you're seeing a survival merger of the Hollywood studios, just so they could survive, because they've run this thing into the ground. So look for a combination. I mean, this is going to be a combination of so many iconic brands. I mean, if you think about it, Warner Brothers owns HBO, CNN, TBS, Food Network, and the prolific Warner Brothers movie studio in Burbank, and taken over by Paramount. This is going to be a lot of stuff under one roof, but there's no other choice, since Warner Brothers, they can't survive independently anymore. These studios have to merge. They have to merge. Now, in a related story, reality TV production in LA has dropped nearly 21% in TV shoot days. So the entire bottom is falling out of the industry, and we're going to see where that goes. Now, just some updates, movie updates. Michael Mann will be directing Heat 2. You heard it here first, my friends. Heat 2 with a small star named Leonardo DiCaprio. Heat 2, he will play the Val Kilmer role, by the way, if I understand the rumors correctly, from the 1995 original. Heat 2 will pick up where that left off. Obviously, many of the characters will not be back because they are killed in the first one. The situation here is that this is going to be a real Michael Mann movie. Okay, so that's going to be good. And now we've got Leonardo DiCaprio is doing a biopic on Bela Lugosi. Let's see if we can do something with Bela Lugosi. This is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see this. This is going to be very, very interesting. Of course, he was the Dracula in the 1931 classic. I hope this is going to be a great film. I really do. I hope this is going to be good. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Okay, one more story. The situation with this story is the Dodgers put their tickets on sale for the World Series. Now, the tickets went on sale. This is the worst seat in the house. The worst seat in the house, $885.52. I'll say no more. I will not be attending this World Series. I've been to a number of them. I've been to a lot of games. I don't need to go anymore. I've been to a lot of Dodger World Series. So the situation is really going to get more and more expensive as the game gets more and more expensive. Okay. We covered that. We covered this. We covered that. Let's get into some birthdays, because we're just going to go into some birthdays for some of these people here. Today is the birthday of this week, October 12th. Hugh Jackman, one of the great actors of stage and screen from Australia. You might know him from X-Men, Wolverine, and the steroid world. Hugh Jackman, happy birthday, born in 1968. And he's still cooking, still doing stuff. Kirk Cameron, October 12th, 1970, Growing Pains, if you guys remember Growing Pains. October 13th, this week, 1941, the legendary Paul Simon. Sacha Baron Cohen, October 13th, 1971. There's Cohen, one of the great, Borat, one of the great comedies of all time, no matter what you say. Borat 2, obviously not. But that being said, the situation is that Cohen is not done with his career yet. So just let me put that out there. October 13th, 1962, Kelly Preston, who passed away in 2020, sadly. She was in one of my favorite films of all time, For the Love of the Game, with Kevin Costner. A great, great actress, really died way too early. Kelly Preston, born October 13th, 1962. Here's one. Lillian Gish. Lillian Gish was the first lady of American cinema. Her career lasted 75 years, and she was an alcoholic. Born in Springfield, Ohio, October 14th, 1893, people. Does anyone die too late? Well, there's some people who do, but Lillian Gish was not one of them. She was in an obscure little film in 1917 called Birth of a Nation, in case anybody's heard of it. Okay, October 15th, today, October 15th, yeah. Melville Cooper, who was an English stage and screen actor. This guy here, you may have seen him. He was British. He was born in Birmingham, England, but he was in The Adventures of Robin Hood and Father of the Bride. He died, I think, in 1973, but he was born today. And again, 1896. So we're going to go back into the 1800s on some of these guys. An American actress named Jane Darwell, who was in The Grapes of Wrath and Huckleberry Finn, from Palmyra, Missouri. If there's any Missouri people out there, please let me know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. October 15th, 1879. Jesus. More contemporarily, today, 1953, Larry Miller, the brilliant comic on Curb, Waiting for Guffman, The Nutty Professor, Seinfeld, one of the great comic minds. Larry Miller, severely underrated comedian, severely. Today, 1937, Linda Lavin, who got a Tony Award, screen actress, Alice, Barney Miller. Who doesn't love Linda Lavin? From Portland, Maine. I did not know that. Sadly passed away last year, 2024. Born on this day in 1937. Born on this day in 1943, the legendary Penny Marshall. The Odd Couple, Laverne and Shirley, directed Big, Awakenings, A League of Their Own, the daughter of Gary Marshall. Many of you saw her in Laverne and Shirley. That was my first exposure to the legendary Penny Marshall, who really was one of the first contemporary women directors. And we're going to talk about her next week with Robin Williams. There's some inside stuff between the two of them that I think you'll appreciate. Birthday was today in 1943. John Coleman, a guy, you have no idea who this guy is, born October 13th, 1934. What did John Coleman do? He invented the Weather Channel. So that's his claim to fame. 1927, October 15th, Jeanette Charles, born in London, British actress. She had one claim to fame, or two of them. She played Queen Elizabeth II in two movies, National Lampoon's European Vacations, and also Austin Powers in Goldmember. She played the same part, impersonating Queen Elizabeth II. This is her. Okay. Oh, she's a lookalike. Yeah. Passed away at the age of 96. Way too soon. She could have worked longer, but her looks as, playing Queen Elizabeth, maybe she aged at the same, Gary Marshall's sister. I'm sorry, take that back. Maybe she aged at the same rate as Queen Elizabeth II. That would have been convenient. 1924, a guy named Mark Leonard. And you say, who is Mark Leonard? He was an American actor born in Chicago. You may know him as Sarek, Mr. Spock's dad. Born this day in 1924 in Chicago. I remember him. He was fully Vulcan, right? Am I correct? He was 100% Vulcan. October 15th, 1955, Kathy Ladman, the King of Queens. She was on Curb. She was a stand-up. She was a writer. She was an actress. There she is. Who remembers her? She, brilliant performer. Today is the birthday, 1957, of Indian director Meera Nair, who did Mississippi Masala, Monsoon, Wedding, a bunch of stuff, and she's soon to be the mother of the mayor of New York in a couple of weeks. 1959 today, Todd Solondz, who did Welcome to the Dollhouse, great little indie film, highly recommend it. I don't know if he was a Vulcan. 1953 today, Tito Jackson, Gary, Indiana, died last year. Oh, there's Todd Solondz. Wow. Great little film, by the way, Welcome to the Dollhouse. October 16th, 1962. Oh, there's Tito. Oh, my God. Rest in peace, Tito. Wow. October 15th, 1953. He was born, died last year. Wow. That might have been too soon. I'm not sure. October 16th, getting into tomorrow, 1962, a guy named Flea from the obscure band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, with my old friend, passed away a couple of years ago, D.H. Pellegro on drums. Here's Flea, who had a incredible desire to take his clothes off everywhere he went. One of those guys. There were people who just like upset. Robin Williams was like that too. The people who wanted to take their clothes off all the time. Too soon for Flea, but it's really his birthday, so he's still alive. Okay, so October 16th, 1947, Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead. Now, this is a weird one because Weir of the Dead, shown here, joined the Dead when he was like, I want to say 16 or 15 or 14. I mean, he was the youngest member of the Dead, and the rest are dead, except for Kreutzmann and the other drummer. The odd thing is, the same birthday is for John Mayer, who's now in the band. There's Weir now, obviously knocking on heaven's door. But John Mayer, who's now the lead guitarist of the Grateful Dead when they travel as Dead and Company, also has the same birthday as Bob Weir, which is October 16th. He was born 1977. So that's kind of bizarre. Getting into October 17th, in a couple of days, Alan Jackson, the country star, was born. Here's a picture of Alan Jackson, still cooking. Also 1972, October 17th, an obscure rapper named Eminem was born. October 18th, there's Eminem, apparently still going. October 18th, 1960, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Did not know that. 1960, Jean-Claude Van Damme. One of my favorite ones was Lionheart. I don't know if anybody's seen that one. I think he's from Brussels or Belgium, if I remember. The John Mayer, the John Mayer, I guess, is the guy. Okay, Wynton Marsalis, the brother of Branford Marsalis, who I saw coincidentally play with the Grateful Dead when he jammed with them. I think it was 1990 at the Nassau Coliseum. That's an odd connection, a Dead connection today. And to close out the birthdays, I think Zac Efron, October 18th, 1987, played an obscure character named Troy Bolton for a show called High School Musical, if anybody remembers that. Branford and Wynton are brothers. No, I think that's correct. Yeah, here's a High School Musical. That's kind of an interesting show right there. Marcellus Wallace, I don't know if he's one of the Wallace brothers, but there's a whole family of them down in New Orleans. Yeah, Branford is the one I saw with the Dead. I don't think Wynton never played with the Dead. Okay, so October 12th. Let's get into this week. Oh, wow, that's a great photo. Wow. Wow, that's kind of interesting. Another Marcellus, huh? Okay, so October 12th, 1981 was the 15th annual Country Music Awards, and it was won by, I guess it was a duet album with Barbara Mandrell and George Jones, if anybody remembers that album. I would like to know about that album. But October 12th, 1972, to me, was an important date because it was the release of a movie called Lady Sings the Blues. Not the greatest movie in the world, but it's based loosely on Billie Holiday with Diana Ross and Billy DeWilliams. And Richard Pryor, I think, was the piano player in that movie, if anybody remembers that. Released on October 12th, 1972, this week in show business history. One of the odd stories, and this is television history, so this is an odd one. October 12th, 1960, Japanese political candidate Injiro Asanuma was eliminated on live TV during a debate by a 17-year-old nationalist. One of the craziest moments, that and the Jack Ruby Oswald thing, are like the two televised live political murders that stand out in my mind. Maybe there are others, but these two are probably the most infamous. Let's move to October 12th, 1944. In Times Square, the famous Columbus Day riot breaks out. 30,000 Bobby Soxers show up to see an obscure guy named Frank Sinatra at the Paramount Theater in Times Square, and a complete riot breaks out with girls passing out, unconscious girls, screaming girls, Bobby Soxer girls. This is really the first mega celebrity. This is before Beatlemania. This is possibly is the first celebrity entertainment mass event that turns into a complete riot in 1944 in New York at the Paramount Theater outside. It was tramplings, people passing out, these girls all there they are inside and outside. They couldn't get in. The place held like 3,000 and there were 30,000 girls there. You do the math. This date, October 12th, 1950. George Burns and Gracie Allen show debuts on CBS. Oh, that's great. Look at that. Wow. Wow, what a little time capsule. Put that together with 20 years later for Beatlemania. Okay, George Burns, Gracie Allen debuts on CBS. October 12th, 94. DreamWorks SKG is launched with Steven Spielberg as the S, Jeffrey Katzenberg as the K, and David Geffen as the G. That was a big deal at the time, DreamWorks. October 12th, 2023. This is just 2 years ago. Taylor Swift concert film, premieres at the Grove here in Los Angeles to record numbers. This chick can make some money. Let's see, October 13th, 1947, children's puppet TV program, Junior Jamboree, later renamed to something you might remember as Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, premieres on WBKB in Chicago. If anybody's from Chicago and was around for that, let me know. October 13th, 1950. Here's a film that many people may remember, All About Eve, directed by Joseph Mankiewicz, starring Betty Davis and Anne Baxter, was released and would win Best Picture in 1951 as an Academy Award. I don't know if we have a shot of All About Eve, but people remember that movie because of Betty Davis. Edward Albee's play, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, 1962. Opens on Broadway with Uta Hagen. That will later be Richard Burton and an obscure woman named Elizabeth Taylor, I believe, in the film version. But right now, in 1962, the play opens. Mank, yeah, it's a good movie too. Let's see, 1973, October 13th, a little film called Badlands with Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek, directed by an obscure director named Terrence Malick, will open at the New York Film Festival. That's really an interesting little film. 2017, for what it's worth, October 13th, Rose McGowan flings allegations at Harvey Weinstein in 1997. So she made the allegation. Now, here's Rose McGowan. By the way, one of the greatest memoirs, if you ever want to hear, I like memoirs, Hollywood memoirs, where the author reads their own memoir. Rose McGowan reads her own Audible book memoir, and it is one of the great memoirs of all time, one of the craziest lives of all time. Highly recommended. You will really find this to be a fascinating thing, and it's about her whole life. Which, is much more than that incident that I just described. But now, 2021, October 13th, this guy becomes the oldest man in space. Now, I did not know this. I must have missed this, or I heard this somewhere. But William Shatner became the oldest man in space when he went up on Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket for, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. If anybody knows that story, comment down below. I mean, I vaguely remember it, but it was like 10 minutes. Okay, George and Ira Gershwin, 1930, October 14th. Girl Crazy opens with Ginger Rogers at the Alvin Theater in New York. Runs for 272 shows. Huge hit because one woman is discovered in the show debut of Ethel Merman. This is interesting. October 14th, 1977. Sabotage, 1977, October 14th. Now, this is kind of interesting because it's Game 3 of the World Series. It's Yankees Dodgers, and they get Linda Ronstadt to sing the national anthem. And Linda Ronstadt shows up and is criticized severely for showing up in jeans and a little Dodger jacket. I don't know what the problem is, but people were lambasting her. October 14th, 1977. And she belts out the national anthem, and it's considered to be the second greatest performance of the national anthem at a sporting event in American history. I don't know who the first one is, but she's considered to be the second one. And holy cow, if you go onto YouTube and Google Linda Ronstadt national anthem at Dodger game, one of the greatest renditions of the national anthem I've ever heard. Of course, the Yankees Dodgers play each other back to back, 77, 78, and then come back again in 81. Here's a little picture of her singing it. I don't know why they were upset about what she was wearing. I mean, she's got a Dodger jacket on and blue jeans. I don't know what she's supposed to wear. But the rendition is unbelievable. It should be a model. It should be released as a model and given to people who have screwed up the national anthem. This is also a great day, October October 14th, 1978, one of the great moments in film history. Rescue from Gilligan's Island, my friends. The first movie from a TV series ever. And it is weird because the show ran from 64 to 67, but the movie comes out in 1978, and it's only got 6 out of the 7 original people. And there's one who said, I ain't going to do it. And try to guess who said they're not going to do it. Out of the Gilligan's Island cast, which I think most of you know, one member said, I'm not going to do this. I want a ton of money. And they said, go F yourself. Maybe there's a picture of the movie poster that we might have. Maybe that'll jar people's memory. This is the movie poster from Rescue from Gilligan's Island, October 14th, 1978. And as I said, 6 of the 7 original people. It is going to be interesting if people remember who did not show up for this movie. Now, they may have tried to show up, but they said, I'm not going to do it. And I'll save you some time. No, Natalie showed up. The professor showed up. It was Tina Louise who said she didn't want to be typecast and told them to go F themselves, Ginger. Yeah, you're correct. Tina Louise. And she was replaced by someone else with a different character or something. I'm not really sure. Rescue wasn't as good, Mike. You're absolutely correct. But also known as the first TV movie of a TV series, which is a weird designation. I don't know what's so important about that, but they apparently thought that was something of note. She lost her looks anyway. Yeah. Also, there's some breaking news out of Hollywood. This is just coming across my desk. The sequel, Mel Gibson's sequel to The Passion of Christ, is being shot right now. He's casting right now, shooting right now. It's called The Resurrection of the Christ. And he has replaced, to the unhappiness, Jim Caviezel and Monica Bellucci. People going nuts over this out here. He's replaced the 2 stars because they've aged out, and people are losing their crap. But The Resurrection of the Christ is going to be a huge blockbuster movie directed by Mel Gibson and put out by Mel Gibson, who's going to make a lot of Mel Gibson money. Jaakko Otonen, who is, again, Jaakko Otonen, he's from Finland, will be playing the Lord Jesus Christ. And a woman named Garija Mariella from Cuba will be playing Mary. These are the 2 replacements, and this will obviously pick up 3 days after where the other movie ended. Something happens where Jesus rises. Jesus didn't age out, Dustin, but Jim Caviezel did. And people are not happy about it. But this movie will do huge box office. So I'll have more updates. Is that that's the new Jesus. Okay. Jaakko Otonen from Finland. I have no idea who this is, but I trust Mel Gibson. I really do. I trust Mel with film. Just absolutely brilliant filmmaker. This is going to be quite the movie. The first one, of course, is The Passion of the Christ, not to be confused with The Last Temptation of Christ, which was Martin Scorsese. Jim is Jesus. Yeah, well, Jim isn't Jesus anymore. We've got a finished Jesus, and I'm sure it's going to be very good. You can make all the jokes you want, but I think Jim Caviezel is 65 years old right now, so 63 or something like that. So he possibly couldn't match up to. And Mel did say he did not want to use AI or CGI techniques to de-age them, and that's why he recast them. I remember him saying that. Okay, October 14th, 1974. Charlie Rich, the legendary Silver Fox, wins Entertainer of the Year and Album of the Year. Very special love song, I think it was at the Country Music Awards for our country friends down there and across the country. Um, big fan of Charlie Rich. TV adapts, this is October 14th, 1979. Television adapts again. I think they did it like 3 times. A Miracle Worker, the story of Helen Keller. This time NBC does it with Melissa Gilbert and Patty Duke as her teacher. And I think Patty Duke might have played Helen Keller, if anybody remembers, before in one of the earlier versions of Helen Keller. Helen Keller, of course, never saw any of these versions because of some reason that I don't have to go into. But yeah, this was another adaptation of The Miracle Worker today or yesterday in 1979. Oh, this is a weird. October 14, 2007. This is a big date in reality TV history, which is not that long. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, featuring Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney, premieres on a channel called E! This is a revolutionary day. And it played Helen in the early 60s. I thought so, Malcolm. Thank you. This is a big day for reality TV. It's the birth of reality TV. Whether you like the Kardashians, you don't like the Kardashians, it doesn't really matter. This is the birth of almost a side industry now. Charlie Rich behind closed doors. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic performer. Here are the K sisters, Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney. The Kardashians, of course, very few remember that he was the father was OJ's friend and legal advisor. I don't know if he was an official lawyer. It's Warren. It's maybe a bad day for the Talbot family, but not for the Kardashian family. Let's see. The dark day in film history, October 14th, 1977. Harvey Weinstein expelled from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. But October 15th, today, 1940, The Great Dictator released, starring a little tramp named Charlie Chaplin. This is still to this day one of the great films of all time. Check out The Great Dictator if you've never seen it, because it was ahead of its time. Here's a poster, one of the posters with the Paulette Goddard. Wow. This is a classic film. Obviously mocking Adolf Hitler in 1940 during the war. You may want to take a look at this classic at some point in your life, folks. Fantastic movie. He will, go on and do other things, but that might have been the best Chaplin film of all time. October 15th, 1951, this obscure sitcom, one of the first sitcoms. It's really like the Kardashians was the birth of reality TV. This sitcom here, October 15th, 1951, is considered by many to be the birth of modern day sitcoms. And multi-camera shoots, breaks all different kinds of thematic boundaries. It's called I Love Lucy with Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. He plays a Cuban band leader, so it's an interracial first time on TV. She also, I think, gets pregnant and gives birth to Ricky Jr., if I remember correctly. So it was the first time there was pregnancy shown in a sitcom. I think it was the first multi-camera shot sitcom. There's a lot of firsts. This is debuts on CBS. Today in 1951, it goes on to become obviously an American classic with the Mertzes. It's Ethel Mertz next door to her right there, and then Fred Mertz. As I said, there's some before this, but this is considered, because of the subject matter and the technical achievements involved in it, to be the first major. Sleeping in separate beds back then, yeah, that was quite common. The mother of Carrot Top. Anyway, so that premiered today in 1951. Huge landmark for CBS. October 15th, 1981 was a dark day for comedy. There was a guy named Frank DeCova who died at the age of 71. And you say, well, who the hell was Frank DeCova? I don't really know him. You may have known him. Thanks, Malcolm. You may have known him as Chief Wild Eagle of a show called F Troop. And if you were an F Troop fan like I was, he was the chief of the Heckowies, who kept saying, "Where the heck are we?" Lost in the woods of the. Thank you, Malcolm. The this is Chief Wild Eagle. If you were an F Troop fan, Larry Storch was on this show. It's one of the great sitcoms of all time. And as a pitch in Hollywood in the late 1990s, I developed a phony F Troop pitch for a movie, and I would pitch my friends and different people, executives who were friends, this entire F Troop movie, which I was only, I thought it was possible to make an F Troop movie, but I exaggerated the hell out of it, and I refined that pitch comically for many years as a big F Troop fan. Um, yeah, I mean, Lonnie remembers a lot if you're that age. Storch was one of the great comic minds of all time. There's a lot to Larry Storch. He may get his own episode on our other episodic situation. Larry Storch, involved with a lot of early great comic friends of his and everybody else. Okay. Rest in peace, Frank DeCova from F Troop. October 15th, on this day, 1958, a guy named John Hamilton dies. And you say, who is John Hamilton? I've never heard that name. Well, John Hamilton from 1952 to 1958 was known to you at home as Perry White from The Adventures of Superman. He died of heart failure at the age of 71. And he also was in, here he is. Here is Great Caesar's Ghost. There's Jimmy Olsen with Perry White. And he wore his pants just like my grandfather did. In fact, my grandfather used to wear that same exact outfit. I think that was a thing back then. That's John Hamilton. He will also, if I remember correctly, he will be in a movie called The Roaring Twenties. He was also, obviously, with James Cagney. He was also in Angels with Dirty Faces with Pat O'Brien. Pat O'Brien, and also with Cagney, Angels with Dirty Faces, of course. And he would play like, obviously, he was the editor of the Daily Planet in Superman, as people know. But he'd play judges. He always would play figures of authority. Yeah, that was the look back then, was that high-waisted pants, the old man uniform, Wendy. Yeah. But Jimmy Olsen, I don't know whatever happened to Jimmy Olsen. We're going to have to look up just Jimmy Olsen's career. But yeah, on this day, John Hamilton died of heart failure. 1952 to 1958, I guess around 6 years, he was Perry White. Great Caesar's Ghost, was the buzz phrase. Also, the reason I mentioned Roaring Twenties, Angels with Dirty Faces, and John Hamilton was October 15th, 1983. Pat O'Brien dies of a heart attack. He was Newt Rockney, and also in Angels with Dirty Faces and a million other movies. Pat O'Brien, one of the great, here he is. I mean, everybody remembers seeing Pat O'Brien in these movies. This is from, I believe, Angels with Dirty Faces with James Cagney. There it is right there. Yeah, Pat O'Brien. Humphrey Bogart, the Dead End Kids were in this one. I mean, this is one of the great movies. It was remade, I think, with Sean Penn or something. But this is one of the great movies. Bogey's in here. The Dead End Kids are in here. Check out Angels with Dirty Faces. Wow. Pat O'Brien was one of the greats. I mean, these guys, I don't know who Shel Silverstein is, but Lance, but we'll look into it. Yeah, check this movie out. This has comedy in it. It's got action in it. It's got guns in it. It's got Cagney in it and Bogey. I mean, it's not an obscure film. Pat O'Brien, I believe, was in some John Wayne movies. That being said, October 15, 2023, Suzanne Summers passed away. For those who remember Chrissy from Three's Company, she also developed the Thigh Master thing, but she died of breast cancer at the age of 76. Now, it's a weird thing about Suzanne Summers. Her husband, this obviously from her birthday, October 15, 2023, today, died today. Her birthday was actually October 16th, tomorrow. I'm sorry for the confusion. But she passed away today in 2023, but her birthday was tomorrow. 1977 and 1981, Three's Company with John Ritter, dies of breast cancer at the age of 76. However, Suzanne Summers was making, I want to say, $3,500 a week, and they were, when she started, they were making $30,000 a week when the show was peaking. Now think about this: 1970, it's 79. She's making $30,000 a week. And started at 3,500, which I think was scale. So she goes in, her husband and her conspire to demand a pay raise. And the other contracts are settled and her contract is up. So it's not the three of them. They go in, the husband goes in and demands for this contract for her $150,000 a week. And she claims that women are not being paid the same amount as men. This is her political motivation for this. But she's making $30,000 a week at this time. So she goes in for $150,000 a week. Welcome, Lance. She goes in for $150,000 a week, and the producers and the studio tell her to go fuck herself and fire her. So she doesn't know this. The husband comes home, the door opens in Beverly Hills, and in walks Susan Summers' husband. And she says, "How did it go?" And he says, "Not too good." And he says, "Why?" He says, "Well, we're going to have to be looking for a new house." And they threw the guy out, fired him, I guess, as her manager agent, and her. And that was the end of Suzanne Summers for a long time. She later catches on to another sitcom, but that's like, I think, 10 or 15 years later. She really cooked her own goose. She kept saying she was irreplaceable. Let me tell you something right now. There is nobody who's irreplaceable in this town. This story has happened over and over and over again privately in Hollywood since its beginnings. And nobody is irreplaceable, including Suzanne Summers, who will make a ton of money with that Thigh Master thing. And Step by Step is the show I was thinking of. Thank you, Ellie. Step by Step, she'll come back. But that's many years later. Her husband was Canadian. That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. Boy, did this guy misread the room. That's all I can tell you. One of the great showbiz explosion stories of all time, the Suzanne Summers debacle. Now, okay, 1959, October 15th, same day today, a TV series is launched, premieres in the United States with a guy named Robert Stack, and that is The Untouchables. And people who remember The Untouchables, it was shot on location. It was in black and white, and the situation is that this was a groundbreaking TV show with Robert Stack playing Elliot Ness. So that was launched today in 1959. Today in 1971, the world's first video arcade game, and I will allow people in the chat to come up with the name. It is demonstrated at the MOA show. I don't know what the MOA show was in the US, maybe the arcade show or something like that. But it was called Computer Space. If anybody remembers Computer Space, that would be the first video arcade game. Maybe a photo of it. We might have a picture of it. It looks like something from another planet. It's not Pong. No, it was called video arcade. It was called Computer Space. A different type of game. I've never heard of it, but maybe you people who are video game aficionados, that's kind of in the entertainment. Take a look at this. This is what it is here. There it is. There's a picture of the screen for a quarter. Now, this is a video arcade. This is not a home game. This is 1971, folks. So this is before there was home versions of these games. It looks extremely primitive. Okay, so on this day, October 15th, 1989, there was oh, there it is. There it is. Look at that. Look at that. Wow, that is so weird. So weird. Did anybody ever play that game? I'm just curious. I've never even heard of it or seen this. If anybody's ever played that game, yeah, please comment down below in the comment section. Anyway, October 15th, on this day, in showbiz history, an obscure show in the year 2000 appears on HBO called Curb Your Enthusiasm, created by Larry David and his crew of maniacs, with the help of Larry Charles and others that we've seen on the show. This is the beginning of it, and it's still going. I don't know what Larry's going to do. If he's ended it, he's, keep in mind, he said he's ended this like 3 or 4 times, and he did take that hiatus. But Curb Your Enthusiasm today, in the year 2000, this guy right here, who also was the co-creator of Seinfeld, as you know, another Brooklyn Jewish funny person, came up with Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is a show that in many ways was unscripted. I don't know if you saw the Larry Charles interview that I did. We're going to have Larry Charles back for part 2, and we'll get into, as soon as he's free, we'll get into some stuff with Curb and his documentary of Larry David that I want to talk to him about, which is a very, very, very interesting story. I knew Larry David briefly at National Lampoon. He came in to do one of our Lampoon shows, and he stormed out because a friend of ours brought in a couple of chimpanzees for some reason that I don't understand, that started jumping around. Oh my God. Wow. Jeff Garland, Cheryl Hines. Yeah. And yeah. Wow. Jeff Garland. Still going. Saw him at the Dodger game. Okay. So let's see what else. Atari. Maybe Atari made it. Yeah. That sounds about right. October 16th, 1923, the Disney brothers, Walt and Roy, opened their studio on Kingswell Avenue right here in Los Feliz, literally across the street from my house. You can walk there from here. It's a craftsman house. So they opened up inside of their own house, their first studio. They will later start a studio around the corner, and that will become a bigger actual first Disney studio. But this house on Kingswell Avenue, around the corner from me here, was their first cartoon studio. In fact, I think they called it Disney Brothers Toon Studio, Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio. 1923, October 16th. And, I walk by the house all the time, and it's now a national, now it's got, somebody bought it from China about 5 years ago, and they were going to demolish it, and people went crazy, and then they got it preserved as a national monument, which was a good thing. They were about to level this house. October 16th, 2023. This is what I was referring to. The model of the X-Wing Starfighter sold for $3 million from the collection of a Hollywood model maker. That's why these phony movie prop story is so interesting, because just 2 years ago, this X-Wing Starfighter from Star Wars sold for $3 million. These things are like Bitcoin at this point. So the authentication process is really, really under review at this time, because how much money is involved with these movie props. Who the hell knew this was going to be an industry? I would have saved everything, because I'm kind of a rat packy kind of person anyway. I've got my own little movie memorabilia that I'm not going to get into right now, but in storage, obviously. Um, October 17th, 1939, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Come on, Frank Capra and Jimmy Stewart, one of the great films of all time, released this week in show business history. Maybe there's a movie poster. Oh, yeah, look at this. Wow, that's pretty colorful. Is this Frank Capra's greatest hit? I don't know. Could be. I'm going to let you people judge at home. I mean, it's just a fantastic. Claude Rains is in it. Look at this cast. I mean, just a fantastic cast. Great, great movie. Highly recommended. See anything Frank Capra ever made. He did not make this other movie that opened the same day, Tomorrow in 1957. This was a movie called Jailhouse Rock, starring a guy from Memphis, Tennessee, where the movie opened to this crazy premiere in Memphis, Tennessee. This is the MGM musical starring Elvis Presley, which has some of the greatest musical numbers you'll ever see. Now, MGM, of course, made their bones with musicals. This is the Jailhouse Rock portion of the movie. This is from NBC shooting it. But the reality of it is, this is one of the better Elvis movies of all time, and it premiered to a huge, huge box office in Memphis on October 17th, 2 days in 1957. What a great, great Elvis movie. One of my favorites, really one of my favorites. Also one of my favorites, opening the same day in 1968, was possibly one of the first modern day car chase movies of all time. That combined with the French Connection, of course, I'm talking about Steve McQueen in Bullitt. This opens up October 17th, 1968. Robert Vaughn is in it as a DA, I think. It's not the greatest movie of all time. However, that car chase with that Mustang is considered to be the first real modern day. It's filmed in San Francisco. If you haven't seen this movie, just see the car chase. You can watch it on YouTube. Greatest car chase. Second, I think this is the Bullitt one is second to the French Connection, and I have a little prejudice because that was filmed in New York. This is filmed in San Francisco, so I don't really know the locations as well as San Francisco. But they do get out on a highway, just like the French Connection one does get out on the highway, and it may have been the same stunt people, probably. For all I know. But yeah, if you could see the car chase of both of them, wow. Just two of the greatest car chases in American cinema. Today, Bullitt was released October 17th, 1968, with Steve McQueen and Robert Vaughn, the man from U.N.C.L.E., of all people. And I think Robert Duvall, and somebody could look that up, if Robert Duvall was in that movie too. October 17th, 1990, jumping around, but we're sticking with the days, not the years, folks. Jackie Mason opens. Jackie Mason, Brand New is the name of the show, opens at the Neil Simon Theater in New York City. Now, we're going to do an episode on Jackie Mason separately, so I don't want to get into it, but 216 performances. He will return to Broadway again later, but one of the iconic performers of all time, going back to the Ed Sullivan Show. And I don't want to give away certain things that happened between Jackie Mason and Ed Sullivan. We'll get into that in the Jackie Mason episode, which is on the list. By the way, the list has possibly at this point, possibly at least 60 different performers on the episodic list. So this is going to take a couple of years to pull off. I don't know why I agreed to do this. It's probably the stupidest mistake I ever made. But now I've committed myself to doing this. But I met Jackie Mason. I know Jackie Mason, so we're going to get into Jackie Mason. October 18th, 1961, West Side Story opens from the 1957 musical. This is the movie version, directed by Robert Wise, with Natalie Wood. It will get Best Picture the year after in 1962. Jerome Robbins, of course, from the musical 1957, on Broadway, October 18th, 1961. West Side Story, one of the great, the remake by Spielberg, obviously a mistake. The movie is a classic, and really recommended. October 18th, 1957, the Frank Sinatra Show premieres on ABC, and they gave Frank total control of this. This is Frank Sinatra when he was much younger, of course, in this photo. This is from the 1940s riot, the 1944, the Columbus Day riot, Frank Sinatra. The 1957, well, I don't know, it's 13 years later. He's given his own Frank Sinatra show on ABC. Okay, October 18th, 1966, a movie called Persona. Oh, there it is. Wow. The Frank Sinatra show. I've never seen that. That's a great, great movie show poster. Wow. Look at time it's on, 5 o'clock. Or maybe it's in the West Coast or something. Yeah, Randall, he was a mensch. You're absolutely right. I don't know about Robert Mitchum. He was kind of a weed smoker. But October 18th, 1966, a movie called Persona is released with a director named Ingmar Bergman, to you Swedish people out there. And I know there's some Swedes out in the audience. It stars Liv Ullmann, who you see on the right, one of the great, great actresses of cinematic history. October 18th, 1967. This is I want to say one of the peaks of Disney. The Jungle Book is released. If you people saw The Jungle Book in 1967, you were in for a treat. This is from Rudyard Kipling, starring Louis Prima and Sebastian Cabot, voices, obviously. One of the great Disney achievements in 1967. Highly recommended if you're into Disney animation. October 18th, 1967, The Jungle Book. Also, October 18th, 1975, which we talked about, the premiere, the reuniting on SNL, on Saturday Night Live, of Simon and Garfunkel singing a song called My Little Town. That was a really groundbreaking musical event, not just for SNL, but for rock and roll, that they reunited to do SNL. October 18th, 1988, a show called Roseanne, starring Roseanne Barr, will premiere on ABC with Laurie Metcalf and John Goodman, an old friend, John. Here's a photo of the crew. It will not end well for Roseanne, though they will bring it back later as the Connors or something after she gets fired. I don't know if that worked out, but nobody's bigger than Hollywood, I guess. So, yeah, this was a groundbreaking show. I mean, it was a groundbreaking working class blue collar show. It was a working class blue collar family. It was a huge, huge success. It was #1 for many, many years. This was a big, big, big event in terms of blue collar comedy. Let me just put it that way. It premiered in 1988. Wow, I didn't know it was that long ago. Wow. God bless Roseanne for fighting the good fight. 1971, October 18th, Andrew Lloyd Webber's rock opera, Jesus Christ Superstar. If anybody ever saw that, appeared on Broadway. Here's a poster for it. Wow. A couple of Jesus Christ things today with Mel Gibson and now Andrew Lloyd Webber. This was a spectacular Broadway cast, Broadway show, Jesus Christ Superstar. This was a big, big Broadway sensation. Also in 2001, the same day, but 2001, Mamma Mia opened up, and they built their music around ABBA. This is one of the strangest musicals of all time, going around the music of ABBA. But again, what do I know? It was a smash hit. This is a copy of the playbill, I think. regarding that movie or that play. I mean, Broadway musicals are hit or miss. They either seem to be hits that run for 75 years or they close in a week. I don't know how you know the difference. Um, but this one was apparently a hit based on ABBA's music. I mean, uh, who am I to say what'll work? Who am I to say in terms of musicals? It's fascinating that they open and close these things, and some of them take off and some of them don't. But uh, anyway, so this is just an example of 1 week in show business history. I know it's all over the map, but that's the idea. That's what I wanted to show you, that you could go all over the map in 1 week of any random week in Hollywood, going back to the literally the 1800s, which we did with some of these birthdays. And I think, to me, it's interesting. I don't know if it's interesting to everybody, but a lot of this stuff is either reminders or memories or new stuff. The birthdays, the passings, the releases, the premieres of movies, groundbreaking things that happen, like TV shows that happen. I don't know about Whitney Houston and Tampa, but yeah, you've never been to a Broadway play. Wow, dude, that's you got to go to some Broadway plays, bro. I musicals are another thing. That's not my thing, but Broadway plays obviously are depending on who they are and who's in it. But obviously, it'll blow your mind. For some reason, Terry Garr appeared on the Bob Newhart show, October 13th, 1973. And I'm a big Terry Garr fan. Yeah, so yeah, Jesus Christ Superstar with Yvonne Elliman as Mary. I don't know who that was, who Yvonne was, but that was a huge hit. Anyway, so I thought this could be a way to go through show business history and 1 week at a time and call it This Week in Showbiz History. I don't know if you enjoyed it. I don't know if you like it. I don't know if you want more, but I'm going to try to do it every couple of weeks, which will give me a couple of weeks to do the deep dives on the characters that we're going to do the deep dives on. Like I said, Robin Williams will be next week, and there is a complicated story of Robin Williams and his career. But we're going to go through it as deeply as we did with Billy Crystal, and they become very, very close friends. A lot of these are connected because they're connected as characters as well. So they're not just random. I'm not just jumping around. Billy Crystal led me into Robin Williams, and Robin Williams, who I also knew. We will get into his crazy life, crazy childhood, family upbringing, the whole 9 yards. That'll be next Wednesday. Scott, thank you so much for stopping by. And we're going to try to. Gregory Peck was born in Niagara Falls. Okay, that's a weird one. I didn't know that. But we're going to do these time. Thank you, Helena. Gregory Peck, born in Niagara Falls. Slowly I turned, inch by inch, step by step. Thanks, Pew Pew. Oh, right. So, sang with Clapton. Oh, you're right. David Stanton. I did not know that. But yeah, so we're going to get into Robin next week. And then we'll do this again. And, if it's somebody that's not that deep of a dive, I can pull it off in a week. But it's really difficult to go through an entire person's life in 1 week. I really need 2 weeks to do this, to watch all their movies, read all their books. And like I said, the book fund would really help because there's apparently, I've got probably 300 JFK books, 350 JFK books that I put together over the years. And I want to assemble a similar library to these famous comics. And I'm talking about Laurel and Hardy. I'm talking about the Stooges. I'm going back to Fatty Arbuckle. There's a lot of these books. Thanks, Rondell. There's a lot of these books that are out of print. A lot of them are rare. And I do want to go on deep dives of some of the earlier comics, not just the ones we know from the 70s. But we will eventually get to all of your favorites, I think, unless it's some obscure modern guy that I don't know about, like Carrot Top or somebody like that I don't care about. But we will Oh, James, thank you. Subscribe, you animals. Yeah, that's my new bumper sticker. Is subscribe, you animals. Thank you, James. Laurel and Hardy, we're going to do. Yeah, and we're definitely doing Fatty Arbuckle. I know quite a bit. Gleason, we're doing. Yes. See the book right over my shoulder here, Jackie Gleason. I've got 3 books on Gleason already. We're going to do. Let me see here. Chris Farley. We're going to do Martin Short. We're going to do Phil Hartman. We're going to dive deep into the ending of Phil Hartman's life. We're going to get into, like I said, Jackie Mason. There's a few over my shoulder there. There's a Robin book, and there is some involving Seinfeld, and of course Bill Hicks is a new book I just got on Bill Hicks. I've got about. Where are the links to send? No, I don't want the books. Don't send me. Don't mail me books. Please don't do that. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes into these selections. Yeah, there's no links to send. But once I get into a guy, I will go and dig up every book I can, just like I did on JFK. Yeah, Billy Crystal, that episode I enjoyed a lot. Have not heard from Billy Crystal. I'm not expecting to. But that being said, I think we could do this every other week and still have fun with it, because looking at some of the weeks, some of these events, and then we could keep up with current show business events, which I'll do at the beginning. Stuff like I just said with Mel Gibson working on the new the sequel to The Passion of the Christ, and some business related events, and some breaking movie stories. I'll try to do that contemporaneously for that week, and then go into the history of who died, who lived, and the events that happened during that week. I think it makes its own sauce. I could be crazy, but I think this is doable, and I don't think anybody's ever done it before. It's more important to me. Birthdays are birthdays, but to me, if I can add a little bit to it, I think it might be helpful. So that's really where I was going with this thing. Tomorrow, I got a day off, so I don't have to watch the Dodger game till tomorrow. But we do have another sponsor, another product that we sponsor, which is called Tribal Coffee. And thank you, Christopher, for the memberships. Thank you so much. It really helps. I have no idea how this works. Thanks, Mike. You could do this. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing, but this is it. We're trying to pull it off. We will do Mel Brooks. Yes, we will. You'll have to do a Sid Caesar. Yeah, thank you for your advice on that. We'll do both of them. We'll do both of them. It might take a while, but oh yeah, there's my icon. This is the coffee. This is pretty good. I'm drinking it right now. This is what it looks like. There was a commenter last week who told me he couldn't take the fact that I was sipping so loud, and he's never coming back. So in a tribute to him, I give you the following. My, that's good coffee. And this is what it looks like. This is the tribal coffee put together by the tribe. I don't know. I don't think they mean Jews. I think they mean pygmies at this point. Choose the roast and grind suited for your preferred cup of coffee, espresso, cappuccino, or plunger. That sounds really, really dark. You'll enjoy the hand-selected, perfectly roasted beans over and over and over again. Well, that's true. PNG, we produce the source of our coffee beans with the fertile volcanic soils of the Western Highlands province of Papua New Guinea. I was correct. Put together by a family of pygmies. This thing is delicious. To me, this is the best coffee I've ever had. I try one bag because I think, oh, there's a secret code. Okay. You'll get some in your mouth. Thanks, Scott. There's a secret code, Mark G. I guess that's an icon or an AI of me. I wonder if people like the thumbnail we created for today's show. We did that in art class. We did that in art class this morning, by the way. Vitamin G. Thanks, Mike. Indonesian coffee is good. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know about this. This was done by Anton, the Biltong guy, and he's got a side coffee thing going on. I'd recommend trying one bag and see if you like it. I mean, I hated everything before I tried this. I mean, I was a Folgers guy, but now I'm into the tribal coffee, which is great. Okay, anybody, if there's any questions, Any super chats? This is last call for alcohol. Anybody at home sitting there? I don't know what's going on in the chat. Who's ever hasn't subscribed, now would be a good time. If you want to look in the description, or here's a good time to subscribe and like. Helena is one of our followers on both channels. We're going to do John Candy. Helena, John Candy's really moved up a lot in the sequence. So I'm going to get to John Candy pretty quickly for reasons I have no idea why. But John Candy's just, it kind of percolates in my brain, and then these people are connected. Bellucci is going to be in there because of the connection of Robin Williams. So we're going to get into Bellucci and John Candy at some point. Thanks, Alicia, for the Dodger things. Tricky Dicky Screwdriver. I don't know what that means, but yeah, coffee and protein, Bob. That's really cool. Not in the description. Well, I have to look at the description. It's a description of the channel, not the episode. You have to look at the channel, I think, to find the links. But I will take another look at that. I just was winging it today. But yeah, it would be great if people could help out with that book fund and let us know who you are, who's doing it. So yeah, everyone loves John Candy. We're going to get into him, and everyone loved Robin Williams. It's a tragic story. Steve Martin's on the list, of course. Dog knows. What are you, nuts? Everybody that you think of, other than, like I said, obscure modern guys, Tom Tuttle from Tacoma, I don't think he's on the list. Vitamin Grow Bear. All right, well, let me get out of here. I think this was a good show, but I don't know. I'm not you. If you like it, say something in the comment section, so I know what's going on. Dead Kennedy song lyric. Touche, my friend. Thank you, Charlie. Not completely knowledgeable on the Jello Biafra songbook. However, when is the Woody Allen episodes? I don't have dates for these episodes, bro. We will get to Woody, and that'll be maybe a two-parter. We will get to Lenny Bruce. We will get to Richard Pryor. Like I said, we've done Kaufman, and we're going to do the major ones first. So we will get there. Just takes a lot of work, takes a lot of reading, and I'm glad to see you guys today. I hope you had a good time, and I'm out of here.